So I would like to take that perspective because it will help us to utilize the marketing tactics in terms of helping an organization to revive itself and market itself to the customers. Thereby, we will discuss all the marketing tactics that are possible to revive this organization, to what you call reach out to more consumers and create more consumers for the organization. And then there is one more aspect of fashion channel that I would like you to read about, and come to the campus. These things is that this organization is very rigid in its ideology. That is, it was only broadcasting whatever that has been whatever that has been already happening. That is, some ramp walks that are happening in some Milan and some cities in France and Italy, or some other fashion destinations. But it never created program of its own. So simply being a broadcaster of someone else's content is different compared to creating your own content. So the organization needs to, what you call rejuvenate itself, and it has to bring in a lot more creative people who are able to create that content that is, useful to the audience. So how do we revive fashion channel, or, for that matter, an organization is what you are going to think about. That is the clue. And then if you say, okay, the case situates itself in US, and if you say you would like to reach out to more consumers across the globe, how do we ensure the internationalization of fashion channel? Because thereby what we are trying to do is we are to cater to the requirements of different audience belonging to different cultures. So you will have to be like multinational organization wherein each nation's cultural, socio-economic background you keep in mind while you are creating that fashion content for those individuals. So I think the marketing tactics part, the internationalization part, is what we are going to cover using that particular fashion channel case. And because we have got two what you call sessions instead of one, I think we'll be able to do a much better job. And I trust that first 15 minutes will go to Sukhdev ji, who will help us with all the facts and figures and what is the decision dilemma of the organization with his on the spot presentation. So please remind me, because I blabber a lot when I meet students. So please remind me that it is Sukhdev ji's turn. First 15 minutes he has to speak. And once he talks about the fashion channel and educates anyone who has not studied the case, then we will jump into all the facts and figures and whatever the elements that I was talking about. So having said that, so this is how you please prepare yourself. And probably I will give you some questions which you can think about that will help you to kind of participate very well in this one. So in today's class, because we are talking about this Ola model, the aggregator model. So what is the decision problem that this organization is facing? They're saying, even if you're a millionaire, you don't have to own a car. So they are doing something, they are trying to convince the customer, that you don't need to own a car just to show that, if you want to show your status, there are many other means to show your status nowadays. You don't need to own a car because we are always there at your service 24/7. So should you really own a car? And so if this is the thing that they are trying to address, is it so easy? They have given a story. Are you convinced by that story of the entrepreneur? Are you convinced that entrepreneur beach mein? Saptarshri, please go ahead. Are you convinced with that story?
No, no, this facility cannot be an alternative for having my own car, because although it advertises that it is there for our service for 24 into 7, but practically it's not. And this apart, it's not about it can be of uses can be of different types, personal, professional, and or in odd hours also. And it's a sense of belonging cannot come with the any kind of service I am taking. So there is a sense of belonging at the, and to a many economies like in India and subcontinent or any growing economy, it is an aspiration level product. So it is a pride. It's a kind of pride. So this can be an alternative service itself, but it cannot be a replacement. That is how it is.
Okay. And then what
And
about
for
the story
the
that was said?
entrepreneur, this can be the identity of the entrepreneur for to meet premium clients and everything.
Identity cannot be challenged, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
But yes, you can always say that I am your friend available at your service 24/7. But please don't suggest that I don't need to buy a car. It is like your Zomato telling we don't require any mothers anymore. Now, can you do that? First of all, feminists will pounce at you saying that, oh, why only mothers should cook? That is one biggest problem nowadays. You will have to worry about this woke crowd, no? Why are you only patronizing women that they are the ones who are cooking? Fathers also. So why do you want to challenge someone's identity? Especially when you say the generations, have grown up, it is not the food that is important, for your sustenance. That is there anyway. But it is, like Saptarshi pointed out, it is the affection with which mother prepares that food that also matters a lot. That's what even Japanese believe, because we are all having the same culture, similar culture. So that is the most important thing. And she is the one who knows, which child or which member of the family has what kind of preferences. And that, customization, that micro, this thing, customization is also possible for the same sabzi that is preparing for the whole family members. So there will be three, cups in which the sabzi is served, and all the three will taste different, meeting the requirements of the family members. Because one likes spicy, one likes less spicy, one likes less salt. Okay, so that is what is the value that is added here by mother, and most importantly, the human touch, because this is what is actually nourishing you. So when you say human touch is there, especially someone who is so close to you, I think you cannot challenge that position. You see, so Zomato or whoever is coming with their apps, they can only be an alternative to this, but they cannot completely replace the mother or the kitchen from this one. If their target is that, okay, they can move towards it, but they will never achieve it. So in the same way, especially for a country like India, identity, and then presenting your identity with one of the most important elements, that is, okay, if you have arrived in life, you will purchase a car. That is how, it is an aspirational product. So when you say this car has been positioned as an aspirational product, not as a utilitarian product, then it is very difficult to convince people that you don't need to have a car in your house. But what if I urgently need to go, and there is in my vicinity, there is no Ola or Uber or such services available. And if it is specifically a medical emergency, then how do you address that? So there should always be a fallback option. This is the most important thing that we also need to worry about. Now, do we have a fallback option? So, though people say that it is, only for status or something, I think somewhere down the line, back of the mind, the most important thing that they're also worried about is I also have a fallback option. Yes, I can economize by going with Ola, but if necessary, I can also kind of, run this exercise and, help my family members or some relatives with a car. So those two things are very, very important. And yes, this organization is trying to kind of do this. But you haven't still answered my question. Are you convinced with that story that this person is saying, oh, he was cheated and all that? By that driver in Bangalore, he left him in the forest. This fellow, couldn't go to the meeting and all that. Hmm?
Sir,
Didn't that happen to you?
sir, the taxi owners after this Ola and other cars, especially in Pune, Auto Ola, these people has got taken a beating. They have understood that they are giving a service. It's not like they're paid for a particular service, and they're paid for that. Otherwise, before the Ola and Uber, people were taking for a ride. Means okay, whatever you think, and they will treat the customer also in a very rough kind of way. Means now they are asking, अच्छा आप अपना उबेर देख रहे हैं, उबेर का रेट में हम लेके चलेंगे आप, मतलब that change has come. It's it was required. That need was there, and they had addressed the need that was there. But
so that sense of entitlement, I think, has been lost.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So in that sense, this happens with most of us, or would have happened with most of us one time or the other in our life. So it is not a new story. It is not something which will spark, but you can see a pattern here. I don't know why it is so compulsive for people to create a history for them to present their business idea. Because it is the way in which a narrative is set, that if you want to present yourself as a change maker, you need to first of all show this oppressed and the savior kind of framework. Like, Gandhi was told that, was telling us that, he was thrown out of a train in Pretoria. Okay. So we believe that he was thrown out of the train in Pretoria because he was a black, what you call brown person. He's not entitled to travel in a first class compartment. And that's the reason why he's been thrown out. And that is how the whole thing started. And you can hear the same thing about Narayana Murthy also. When he went to Poland, he was a hardcore communist, but he kind of been put into jail for whatever papers and all. And sitting in the jail, he pondered as to, should I really be a communist, or should I get into a capitalist mode? But the joke is, all of us are communists when we are very young, and by the time we get an employment, we all turn capitalists. It's as simple as that. Because as long as you're a college student, you have nothing to lose, no? So you can be a hardcore communist, but the moment you have something to lose, like a job, we all turn capitalists and say, no, sir. And I think, we'll have to serve our masters and get our incentive, and as simple as that. So you can see a pattern here. Every businessman most of them try to tell you that this is how it is, and this is the story and all that. No, this is some sort of a compulsion that generally entrepreneurs experience. Yeah, when you say that is Astha. I think storytelling is necessary because they will say, oh, how come see, it is not very easy for people to explain how they bumped into that idea. Maybe the way you bumped into that idea is not that attractive to people who are listening and wanting to invest in your business. Okay. And it is also slightly boring when you say that I was looking at a pattern of how people treat, like the point Sukhdevji mentioned. I see this every now and then, and I have seen this pattern in almost major cities of India, and that's how I came across as to how do I change this scenario and all that. And people will be put off. oh, you're that revolutionary of sorts, and revolution and the banking or capitalism don't go hand in hand. The moment you say, I want to bring about a revolution, oh, thank you so much, sir. That is the way, that is the exit. So you will have to tell a very nice story, and this is where the villain, heroine, and hero plot comes into play. You see? So it is here because this is how everybody has been fine-tuned in all their religions. Okay. Even if you are an a religious person living in some island of Trinidad and Tobago and you don't have a religion, I think even there this villain, hero, and heroine concept will come in because there is civilization, micro civilization, so to say. So you would have heard this in almost all religions, wherein some Saitan or some Rakshas or somebody was ill-treating the people, and here comes the God saving everybody, and everything is happy hunky-dory afterwards, and we fall at the feet of the God. Okay, so every human being is being institutionalized into this story of villain, hero, heroine. So when you narrate the story in this fashion, I think it's very easy for people to connect with you and then say, "Ha, mere saath bhi aisa hua tha." Mere saath bhi aisa hua tha. So when you say all the 5 members who are about to give you that angel investment, they can also relate with this. I think they're immediately connecting with you. Just like before joining this course, all of you are executives working in different organizations. But the moment you meet, now in the airport, okay, आप हमारे बैच में थे ना, yes, आप बहुत ज्यादा सीपी करते थे, मुझे याद है. So in that sense, I think people who are coming from different parts of the country and people who are working for different organizations have now found a common background wherein they can relate with each other, that this is the program and you are all coming from one institution. You see? So for that purpose, I think telling these kind of stories is an easy way to go about rather than telling about the you would see that more or less this plot is being used by almost all brands. Starting with your good night. The good night is the hero, the mosquito is the villain, and the child is the what you call the heroine or whoever needs to be saved. The oppressed, oppressor, and the hero. So in that way, every brand, when you say you go and look into the way they are giving their advertisement, in one way or the other, they're trying to present this story, and it is very easy for people to consume rather than going into the scientific details of good night and how it kills the mosquitoes and how it helps protect the child. It's slightly difficult to communicate this idea in the least possible time. Now, let us come to understand the different stakeholders who are in this business. So what sort of segments are you trying to look at in this? Who are all our customers for Ola? Who are all our customers?
So since this is a marketplace, both drivers and riders are the consumers. You have to have the balance to start the flywheel. This is a flywheel concept.
So what is that flywheel? Can you explain to me?
Yeah. So, if you want the riders to be there on the platform, you need drivers. Because only if you have enough drivers, the riders will get the ride on time and they will be using Ola. So if you want more drivers, then you need to have riders, because if they have business, only then they will continue to use the Ola. So this is a flywheel concept. So they have two consumer base. One is drivers, another one is rider. So this is the way this moves.
Okay. And then what is the role that your Ola is playing here?
So Ola is a platform which is connecting the drivers and riders, and their business model entirely depends upon finding a balance to start the flywheel. So they have to incentivize at least one party.
So who is the third most important person in that flywheel?
Who is the third most important person?
Or an entity that is necessary?
I think platform itself.
Technology.
Yeah, technology itself. So which is connecting both rider and the drivers.
Isn't it? So here we require the technology platform, that you have created one app, and you have mobile phones which are, the smartphones which are enabling the app to be used. Okay, and because most of the consumers who are able to pay for a taxi are definitely better off in terms of their economic status, so they will definitely have a mobile phone with them, and they'll continue to update their mobile phone. So all you need an app which is very user friendly and constantly updating itself with the technology to ensure that the relationship between the user and the rider is always balanced. So we'll have to constantly look at that algorithm to ensure that as much convenience as we can provide, let's try to do that. And whatever bottlenecks exist in this process of you wanting a car for traveling to a particular place, and then that car reaching your destination as early as possible, and you reaching to the destination as promised, that whatever time that you have appointment, you are supposed to reach there. So we'll have to ensure that it is necessary for this organization to ensure the timelines are met. Now, if it is your individual car, the responsibility is yours, isn't it? You say that half an hour it will take for you to go to the city. So you will have to start half an hour before, considering the traffic conditions. And that's how you will book you will start off. But when you say you are trusting a platform, now whose responsibility it is? It is the platform's responsibility, isn't it? So I am now transferring my responsibility of moving from point A to point B to this organization or the platform that is being created by this organization. And it has to take care of making me reach from point A to point B in this particular time. So what sort of problems you see in this from the customer's side? What sort of problems they can create for you?
So the drivers canceling the ride.
No. Customers, what sort of problems they can create for Ola? मिल गया चाय.
They can also cancel rides,
Canceling ride is one thing. Okay, that's a least of problems, because they'll say cancel and then you can pick up another one.
So the customers not
Okay.
Customers not paying the amount after completion of the ride.
That may be an issue, so we'll have to sort it out. If it is possible for us to take the online transaction, or we should figure out, way as to how we can make them pay, or this kind of situations may be very rare, because generally customers are polite, and we expect that these individuals have money, so they will try to. But we should also have a mechanism. But if they try to refuse the payment for whatever reasons, then how do we kind of tackle the situation? That also is there. Then
I think the problem is customers using their own vehicles instead of using Ola or Uber, because in that case they will not get the rides. So to get the rides, they have to have that. They have to create something compelling for the consumer, so that they opt for that option. Once that happens, then all the other use cases can be taken care of.
So how do we convince you to use our service, specifically when you have a car of your own? So how can we sell this service in the best possible manner, so that when you are pressurized or when you are stressed for time or something, you would trust us? Okay, because you have an important meeting to attend to, and you would like to think of certain points and prepare yourself. While driving, it is not possible. So definitely, you would like to take a Ola, so that you can sit back, relax, and prepare for all the pointers to attend the meeting. And parking convenience, because you don't have to actually, park your car anywhere. You just get down at your location and that fellow will go away. So all those tedious problems that we encounter in a cluttered country like India, they can be addressed. They can book the competitive rise as Yogita pointed out. That is, there is only Uber, but Uber is not very this thing. But is competition only coming from Uber?
Sir, in
No,
today's
competition is coming from many, even
your
public transport
enterprise
can be a competition.
competition can be your own car. So, for
Competition
example,
can be your own
Coke,
car, but what are
for
the other options that are available to you? Is it Ola
Professor, for
only?
No,
Coke,
no, no. There are many other competitors also, not just Ola or, for
so
Ola, it's not just Uber also.
It's
They,
also
they can
locally
book
taxi
private
attendant.
taxis also. I mean,
Ah.
they are available.
Yes.
Professor, the
Public
biggest
transportation is there. Some private players are also there. No, small
Yes, sir.
people.
Yes, yes.
Like
Sir,
say
I've been
in IIM Indore, we have one person called Vijay Arya. I think when you come to campus, if you want to go to your, Ujjain and Omkareshwar and all, I think the first number that you get is of Vijay Arya. Okay, and he'll be the one who will give you some 3 to 4 other people who will be very polite and nice with you, and they will transport you to whichever place you want, and they'll bring you back safely. Okay, and so Vijay has established that credibility. As far as I know, I've been traveling with him for the last 11 years. That he has established such credibility that, if your child is going with him, or your wife is going with him, or you are traveling alone with him, I think you can rest assured that it is very safe and sound to travel with Vijay and 3 to 4 people that he vouches for. And so in IIM, even though it costs a little more to travel with Ajay, because he's a little bit premium compared to your Ola and Uber, I really don't mind. I never book an Ola when I'm going, I have my own car, but if I have to go to a cluttered part of the city, I always call Vijay. You see? So in that sense, there are these individuals that exist who have been loyal to you or to the society or group housing, and they have been known to you for a very long time. And probably, in Delhi, the Sikh drivers, who used to run those black and yellow cabs, and later on they also changed to other these things. I think they are very reliable. They were known, and it is like, the father of the taxi person used to drive your father, and the one of the sons or daughters is now driving your daughter or son to the school or wherever it is. So it is that generational connections that exist, and they know more about your family, and they are so connected to your family. So it is easy for people to rely on them, and that is also a very big competition. So here you don't mind paying that little money extra, because he is like a family member to you, and he takes care of every small detail. All your idiosyncrasies are known to him, so he will ensure that all those things are followed and all that. Okay, so in that sense, there are still these people existing, and they are able to create that sort of loyal customers. So definitely Ola has to face this kind of fellows. If Coke is water and not Pepsi, similarly for Netflix, it is sleep, not OTT platforms. For Ola, it is your own vehicle than Uber. Yeah, it's possible. The way you would like to look at the competition, so in that sense, I think you need to worry about what is all there, who is all competing, and all that stuff you need to look at. So in that sense, if you want to look at the generic sort of competition, definitely this thing will come into picture. That is, you are in a position to consider water as your major competitor, just like this one. So, or you can narrowly define the competition that I am an application based this one. So I would like to consider the other application based this ones as a competition for my organization. So how narrowly or how broadly you would like to define the competition, you need to look at it. Meru cab, especially in Indore, it was there before Ola and Uber. But Arpita, I think Meru is no more there in Indore, no? I think it's been thrown out. I think even when you say go to Hyderabad, where it used to be very this thing, I think it has been reduced, and there are so many players that have come into picture. I don't know what has happened. Even Meru is not that efficient now in terms of picking up and promptly dropping you at the airport. They cancel so many of your bookings. It has happened with me multiple times. So for women also who have to go to airports or travel at odd hours at night, many opt for private known people. Yeah, this is the most important thing, Sanyogita, that you pointed out. That is, I don't want any of my family members, female family members, to go with a very unknown person just in terms of saving 300 rupees or 200 rupees, you see. So I want to ensure that they say their safety and this thing. So which is the reason why most of the customers for Vijay Arya from our campus are all female participants. They are the first set of customers, and from them come the male participants of our classes. Who say, okay, Vijay is very good. His drivers are he vouches for them. They don't what you call BD, gutka, kaini, and all those things they don't consume, which means that you have that what you call a sense of security when you go with these individuals. So I think for Ola kind of an organization, also it is essential for this organization to screen the what you call the drivers and ensure that every customer who is booking the cab feels safe and sound. From point A to point B, you will have to ensure that this the safety and everything of the consumer is taken care of, because this is just little more than the service. Like you say, continuing Sanyogita's argument, you don't even want to get into a dingy Ola kind of a place. You are a little scared. So you would like to go to a place where it is well lit, and it's probably easy for you to what you call take a cab and go to another place or something. And most importantly, you also would like to experience the physical evidence before you say simply go and stay in any dingy hotel or lodge. Then those so in service, these things, I think, especially service scapes, you are supposed to worry about some of these things. So Ola needs to worry about how do we register the riders who are going to give us the safe image in the among the consumers. So now, so what can we do to ensure that the drivers that we're recruiting are the good ones, because there are some untoward incidents that have happened in some of these places relating to these cab drivers, and not just with Ola, Uber, but also private cabs also things have happened. So when you are aggregating, if it is a private taxi, that private taxi person alone is responsible. But when you're aggregating all these fellows, and in that aggregation, if there is one rotten apple, I think the whole bunch will be blamed for it. So how do you ensure that you are selecting the right individuals? At the same time, you're also interested in growing and reaching more cities. Arpita, because as of now, you are in 250 cities and you want to reach out to more cities, right?
Sir, actually, I am currently in Bangalore. So here in like what to say, like Ola and Uber, yes, they are still existing, but now like to rescue the travelers from many of the problems, the biggest problem of Bangalore city is the traffic thing.
Yes.
So beautiful like concept came with Rapido. Now Ola is also opting that. I don't know whether other cities has applied that thing or not. They have also came up with the Rapido concept that is called like bike, Ola bike kind of thing. So that saves a lot of time as well as the money as well. So if the booking a cab and it is pricing you around 300 or 400. In bike, if you go and you don't have any luggage, then it will save you not only the time, because bike is easier to travel, and it will save your money also. Like it will cost you 100 or 120, like that. So
Hmm.
that concept came, and now Namayatri and all, everything is coming, which is like people are much more preferring than Ola or Uber.
And women also are interested in the bike riding.
Myself is a lady, I am working, I have to sometime visit to my the clients places, and it is very difficult to drive a car all the way 30 kilometer in Bangalore, is like more than 1.5 2 hours. So
Hmm.
even
Hmm.
even in evening time I have ridden Rapido bikes or Ola bike, which is quite very safe. And I never felt like, even in the night time, 9:30, 10 o'clock, I rided that thing. So being a lady also, yes, it is quite safer thing, and peoples are like they're accepting that thing a lot.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
recently we have noticed here that Ola has also launched that kind of facility of Ola bikes in
Hmm.
Bangalore.
Hmm.
So I don't know
Hmm.
about the other cities and all, whether they have launched or not, but in Bangalore it's been like more than a year, like just after the COVID thing happened. After that,
Hmm.
that Ola have also started this thing.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Hmm.
now,
So
yeah.
yeah, in that, then Amit, you were saying that it isn't that safe, and so what do we then do with this bike thing?
I'll tell you, sir, it's a real-time scenario wherein, one of our colleague, she came from Metro. I live in Delhi, Delhi to Gurgaon, right? She opted that bike ride, and the person was not carrying the extra helmet. The first security lapse was there, and then they met with an accident, and she broke her hand. So that way, she has never traveled, and then the word of mouth marketing goes like, we have got like 30,000 people in India that don't travel. Even
Hmm.
the HR people rolled out an email stating it's not
Hmm.
safe. But
Hmm.
yes, crowded places, people prefer, instead of losing their time and money, they really want to
Hmm.
prefer, okay, bike ride, which is there in Delhi as well. But I think
Hmm.
safety concern is the major concern, wherein
Yes,
you
yes.
will find in all the
So
major cities there are.
safety, yeah, safety is not just in terms of the sexual harassment sort of part, but I think safety in terms of your own physical welfare. That is, your friend, what you call getting into an accident. And thankfully, it is just the hand, and that could be recovered very easily. But if the injury were to the head, then I think the problems would be much more complex.
Right.
So I think strict standard operating procedures need to be brought in. Yeah, people, and definitely for crowded places or crowded cities and all, you need to be really careful. And yes, bikes would be much better in terms of maneuvering themselves, sometimes even breaking the traffic rules and all. And sometimes using the pavements also, which were meant for the what you call walking, these fellows and all. Bumping into all of them, you just kind of ride your bike. But that's what they do. In the first time I have seen it, and I was like aghast in indoor. But then I think I went back to Vizag, and there I was surprised that people there also opted to kind of use the footpaths for riding the bikes and stuff like that. The dangerous thing was they were doing it on a bridge, which is very very old. It is like even it was built before 1975, and few repairs have been done on that, and then people are taking the risk of riding their bikes on that sort of a bridge pavement. That's too much. So if you say, I think the standard operating procedures for this is that, okay, good for you that you don't have it's an informal meeting, you're not in your BlackBerry suit or anything, you just want to reach out to a place, and Rapido can definitely help you do that with a
Professor,
helmet and with standard operating procedures. You can do it.
Professor,
But
and so just to add on, Gautam, sorry,
ha ha
if
ha
you are appearing for an interview and wearing a white shirt, and you can
ha
imagine, a city like Delhi, 458 going, right? Your shirt gonna be a black shirt. What kind
Yes,
of impression?
you will receive the dying, on the way, as you go. I think you should, if you should prepare to attend the interview in a black or black and white combination. And so then you can definitely take. So there are limited, what you call options in terms of you having a good image at the same time you are able to procure the, or get into the bike sort of this thing. So that is one element you need to worry about. It's not that anything and everything you would like to opt in just to help the customers get into what you call get your business. But the most important concern for transportation is the safety and well-being of the customer, as long as they are with you, either on the bike or in the car. Okay, Taran, what is your point?
Yes, sir. So, to your question, like how they increased the base plus how they acquired more customers. So, this is back in 2017 when I was having a word with the Copcom of Ola and Uber. So, they introduced the ride-sharing concept back in 2016 and 2017, which was adopted very well with the metros, where 2-3 people are going to a same place. They carpool it and reduce the cost significantly. Brought down the cost below what a guy has to pay for an auto. Plus, they were getting a good air-conditioned car, good facilities in terms of the overall car experience. So it was just the safety and everything, but it was an experience at a very lesser cost that was being offered to the customer, which increased the retention and adoption of the services from Ola and Uber. So this was the things like it was tested in India. It was nowhere introduced earlier outside India, but in the Indian market, because it's a very price sensitive market, in a smaller price, in lesser price, they want more services and all. It proved a big game changer for Ola and Uber.
So definitely, again here, I think you need to worry about every element that you are bringing in, like pooling this customers, and say if there's some 3-4 of you going to the same organization from Silicon Valley city, let us say, some group housing, whatever. So I think it's easy for you to book that Ola on regular basis, and three members of you actually going to the particular destination. That's an easy one. At the same time, I think hammering this idea of safety, precautions to be taken by the consumers, and at the same time precautions to be taken by the concerned drivers. I think not just the technology upgradation and then helping the aggregation part, but I think also constantly trying to kind of hammer this idea of safety in the mind of the consumers as well as the what you call the drivers is very, very important. That is what is going to help you get that image that with your organization it is always safe to travel. That sort of an image is what we would like to get as a service oriented organization. Gautamji.
Yes, Professor. So what I want to say on a structured method, like when you say segments, typically on Ola case, to bring different segment of audience. See, of course, my prime audience is the cab for what business is start. Then there is a one which is the bike, but again, bike audience and the cab audience, predominantly is different. You can't mix two audiences together. Then again, there is another segment. There is a segment who don't want to spend like a premium, like a Ola Premium, Ola Go, or Uber Go, whatever the things are. But I have the sharing. So the 3 segments I covered, because the people who don't want to spend, there is a bike, but bike again, the people, they don't go with the cab. Quickly I to the other 2 segments. So this is the one set of audiences I got in the segment. The 4th segment is they tried out with the food delivery, because I have the resources, I have my structure and system. Why should not I use with the food delivery? Because I'm going to create a different ecosystem altogether. The other thing also they tried and tested in certain cities is like delivery packages, like similar to Dunzo or the other players like over there in Swiggy and all. So basically creating one particular structure and what are the different elements I can put out to get more and more segments to my same business. If I precisely talk on a segment part, that's the way they wanted to bring in more and more audience.
Yes. So once you say you have figured out a very good idea, then, if it is working, you are trying to figure out if this aggregation idea can be used in other businesses as well. That's what you are trying to do. And in that sense, in India specifically, I think, I have just written down all the segments that we have discussed till now. In India specifically, I think considering the population, the most important thing that we cannot neglect. And the second thing is that at, at any socioeconomic segment that you take, people are price sensitive. In the sense, the great Indian middle class that we are talking about is not a one single block, but very thin layers of, at least 100 segments. That is how you have to understand great Indian middle class. And any business person who is able to understand the finer segments that are present in the Indian market, they are able to create value for the customer, and that's how they are going to succeed in the business. And most importantly, aggregation works for countries like India because of the population as well as the price sensitivity part of it. But also most importantly, because of the infrastructure problems that we suffer. Like Sukhdev pointing out that, whenever there is a metro construction going on, people are like hitting each other and then bumping into each other and all that. So in India also they're constructing metro. And Arpita, your Namma metro is a flop. I don't know anybody uses metro in Bangalore because they have constructed metro in a Namma Yatriya. Oh, they've changed. When I visited Namma metro, this thing, I think that was not such a popular destination. So it didn't take off as it took off in Delhi, Gurgaon. I think it didn't take off in this Bangalore city somehow. It's because your planning is not so great in the sense of identifying where the people are traveling and from which destination to which destination. And you'll have to construct the metro in such fashion. If you're not doing it, I think the public transportation will not be a very this thing. So again, in the sense of diversifying, now that you have cracked the code and you are able to aggregate the riders and then, figure out this way of economizing transportation charges for the consumer, you're trying to figure out that I can also economize the other processes. Now, here it is like, while this aggregation for the cars was happening, there was developments that were taking place in the other businesses. So when you say that, you have introduced Ola Food and, and they are trying to kind of bring you and deliver those food items and all, it is largely because the same technology applications, same pooling or aggregation is also happening in the unrelated industry called the food industry, wherein because of the time paucity, people, at least were preferring to order certain things on regular basis, on weekends or weekdays based on their own schedules, and that is coming up as an opportunity for you. And because you have already, created the technology base, that application, you are able to simply, try to kind of, change few elements of the algorithm, and you are able to reach out to another market wherein this blueprint can be used, and, you are able to create another source of income for yourself. Because no matter how much you do, what is the next thing? Uber cycle, so there is always limitations for the business that you are trying to create. I think the smart business person understands those limitations, and they will have to look out for opportunities wherever they exist in terms of tapping that potential and trying to create a new habit among customers. So that anyway, we have created this habit of outsourcing your transportation from yourself to somebody outside. And this is not unheard of. It has already been, done by some auto rickshaw fellows and the taxi guys. Anyway, all that we are trying to do now is to bring it under the umbrella of an organization with the help of a technology. Earlier also, people used to go and buy some idli or vada or whatever it is from small time restaurants and bring that to their house. Now, what you're simply trying to do is you are cutting down the time of moving to or going to that particular place and fetching those things for your family. And they're saying, instead of getting stuck in the traffic and wasting your time to bring the idli, why don't you order it via this app and we'll help you get the food, hot and sweet, whatever it is, you see. So in that way, time is of essence here. So all that you're trying to do is sell the business and define your business at this level, that time is of essence, and I am in the business of saving time and safety for people. Would you agree? Or if you simply say that we are transporters, sir.
Yes.
You will only be a transporter, no? But if you define yourself as somebody who is providing convenience or saving time and with the safety precautions, it is, you're defining it at a broader level. And when you say you started it with cabs, then you have come to the bikes, and then you have also simultaneously ventured into providing food for people. Now you are open to the ideas wherever time can be saved for a large number of customers, wherever safety and convenience can be promised to customers. But if you simply say, sir, we are a transport company, that is the problem with Indian Railways, no? एक डब्बे में लोगों को भरिए और भेड़ बकरी की तरह दूसरे जगह पे जाके उतार दीजिए, खत्म बात. But your Vande Bharat is trying to somehow change that. अरे यार तुम लोग भी आदमी लोग हो, औरत लोग हो, जानवर नहीं हो, तो थोड़ा अच्छे से रहो और सेफ रहो, खुश रहो और अच्छे से प्लेस में जाओ. हमको भी थोड़ा पैसा दो, बिकॉज इंडिया में सबके पास पैसा है, कोई गरीब नहीं है. My maths tutor used to say this, every Indian has got money. They'll only tell you that they don't have any money, but बेटे का शादी है, बेटी की शादी है, खुद के घर में बड़ा फंक्शन है, सब लोग पैसा निकालता है. कहाँ से आया भाई पैसा? बैंक अकाउंट ही नहीं है, पैसा है सबके पास, तो निकालना आना चाहिए. So when you say you are a smart marketer, Astha, you have written such a big thing. I will give you time. You please explain that. I can't read all of it. So when you say you have money, but the government needs to, ensure that you spend money. So thanks to the Vande Bharat, I hope all these blue and black color, railway dabbas will transform into some nice looking, dabbas and, in Vande Bharat and whatever, much better versions let us expect. So they're also trying to figure out that you are humans and you need to be served with a smile. So they are trying to improve that premises, they're trying to improve the safety of it, and they're trying to, kind of increase the value that they're able to provide to you for the money that you are paying. Here I think one needs to also understand, sir, 50 रुपया ज्यादा है सर वंदे भारत में. अरे सलमान खान का मूवी तो 100 रुपया भी ज्यादा दे के देख रहा है, तो ये टिकट में 100 रुपया देने के लिए क्या प्रॉब्लम है तुमको? आपके पास 100 रुपया ज्यादा है, बट निकालना आना चाहिए तो निकलवाना चाहिए वंदे भारत एक्सप्रेस डाल के. So when you say, I think this is what it is, and the smart business person will be able to figure this out. You see, now Asta, all those big these things. Can you please explain then Sanyogata and then Amit?
Professor, I was trying to summarize the learnings.
इतना जल्दी अभी टाइम है, 11:05 तक क्लास है.
Yeah, I understand. अभी तक का जो था ना, I was just trying to understand that for my own sake. So I think we've discussed.
Yes.
We've discussed the acquisition and the segmentation, and we've discussed that how from mobility, the Ola moved into other industry, other vertical industry, from mobility to hyperlocal delivery. And the third thing that I wanted to ask was that they built a brand equity from services business, and then they capitalize it in selling product, Ola Electric. Yeah, so that is the thing that I wanted to discuss.
But I think, I think electric two-wheelers have picked up really, really fast.
Yes.
I think, I think some 4 or 5 of my colleagues, though they have a car of their own, they prefer to travel within the campus on their electric two-wheeler. And only when they're going out with the family, they generally prefer to take a car. But when they're traveling alone for the smallest distances, like 5 to 10 kilometers, they still prefer to use their electric vehicles compared to the fuel guzzling vehicles that they have. So in that sense, I think your two-wheeler has picked up. So definitely, when you were talking about the image that has been established by Ola Ride for the bikes, I think the electric vehicles for the two-wheeler part can definitely be a good avenue for Ola. Somehow, I think the electric vehicles for cars, I think, is still to pick up.
So how do we establish the linkages in between? As in, I was able to establish the linkage between, first they started customer acquisition, then vendor acquisition, then widen the scope of their audience, increase their audience, offer to all sorts of audience, whatever it was. Then they have, second step was that, okay, fine, they've done it. Great. Now they have built a very strong infrastructure, tech infrastructure, plus operations infrastructure. So they started using it for vertical industries, similar industries, they replicated it. Understood. That was done. But then the third phase was about Ola Electric. So I am not able to understand the linkage in between that. What I understand is that they use the brand equity that they created from services business to launch that product. But the success is
Ola Electric is simply a vehicle, no. It is not a business vertical that they are trying to start. It is that, like Sukhdevji pointed out, your black and yellow dirty cabs, you're trying to shift it to nice looking cabs. And then like the sedans and other good cars that you have nowadays, well designed cars that you have nowadays. And instead of that, you're trying to move to the electric vehicles. Though I'm not very convinced of the electric vehicles per se, because the lithium batteries that are to be that are to be used in these electric vehicles are the worst polluters. Just because a loony girl is crying in the United Nations and asking us to save the planet, it is not necessary for us all to convert to electric vehicles. Okay, what instead we need to do is that we need to look for better modes of transportation. That is, if your metro can be bettered in terms of carrying large number of people from one destination to another destination. Also, even if it is diesel or electric, in terms of the Bombay metro, that Bombay, what you call that local transport that you have, simple supply chain management techniques need to be applied to reduce that rush. All that you need is more bogies, more trains and more bogies to be put on the same platforms. And every 5 minutes you are to launch new this thing. This is not my idea. This is idea of Professor Vinay, who is from Bombay and who is also this OMQT professor. So when you say it can be solved, it's not that it cannot be solved. The only thing is there needs to be a lot of investment that needs to be put in. And instead of doing that, the larger question is to get in, to create employment. I think the politicians have created chaos in the society. Okay, so you are our party supporter, so we will give you 2 lakh loan. You go buy a small auto, and your livelihood is settled. Okay, problem is, you could have been settled with a different sort of livelihood, but you have destroyed the public transportation. And you have created this small means of transportation which are not really safe and are also creating so much of chaos. Okay, so I think, again, this is a larger question. We'll not get into that, but it is all vote bank politics. A place like Andhra Pradesh, losing its public transportation and encouraging autos is the funniest thing that has happened in our lives. When we were college students, we used to hang around in public transport and go. But now there are autos still there. People are hanging and going. How can you hang in an auto and go? I think the younger generation only knows. Because the frequency of the public transportation has reduced. You destroyed the public transportation, you see. So in that sense, I think government also needs somehow. So, why then Ola is getting into electric vehicles? I think because it is fashionable to get into. You see? So because this organization, you should appreciate the organization that it has always kept an open mind to accept whatever the new wave that is coming in. Ola is also trying to get into electric vehicles because that gets them the positive image. See, otherwise, individual taxi drivers are taking the blame for whatever pollution they are causing. But if you're pulling all those 1 lakh drivers under your umbrella, somebody who is not getting advertisements from Ola, that channel might talk about a climate change program and how Ola and its 1 lakh drivers are contributing to the pollution. They can write about you, isn't it? That is what these animal welfare fellows, who are they? The PETA fellows, constantly do with
PETA.
respect to Amul. That PETA fellows. The lady in the PETA, I'm very much wanting to meet her and ask her as to, madam, only you have problem with cows and buffaloes, which are actually helping other women, especially when you say you are talking about animal welfare and you want to reduce the number of animals in this country, you have to reduce so many other things. Why don't you go and talk about how the pollution that is getting created by so many of these canneries is killing fish? Because fish is also a very important animal. For Bengalis like Sukhdevji, fish is the most important element. So why can't you protect the rights of fish? Madam is only interested in protecting this thing, methane gas that is coming out of the animals, and she is actually hitting GCMMF. Why? Because she's probably being sponsored by Nestle, which wants to hit GCMMF very hard, bring down Amul brand and challenge its 42% market share and occupy all of it. And this lady nicely sitting in a position is acting as if she does not understand any of it. God knows who is sponsoring her to write such articles in Economic Times, isn't it? So when you say these are all people who will try to attack Ola, and for Ola to protect itself and rise in business, it is essential for them to get into these electric vehicles to protect their image and to show it as a corporate social responsibility. Yes, fish is I think in your wedding also you send your daughter by decorating the fish into some some nice, one specific fish I think is being decorated and given as a gift to the groom's house is what I hear, Sukhdevji. So
Yes, sir.
in that sense, I think the next one was Sanyogita, you had something, e-bikes and then Amit Kumar, wedding sessions. What
Yes,
is
sir.
it?
You have actually covered that also, that e-bikes are picking up. Even in Bangalore, government is also starting e-bike. Private players are already there. You just have an app. The bikes are parked anywhere. There are specific locations. You have to just pick a bike and you have to go on your own. You don't have to be you can just use it whenever within the radius of the city. And even government is starting e-bikes now for 10-kilometer radius. You can use them as a
Okay.
e-taxi. Yeah.
Okay. Then Amit ji, what is this wedding sessions?
Sir, this was off the line since you touched base, the money angle which Indians have. But before that, I would like to go to the case. It's like, we wanted to go to the Mars without saving the Earth. So in the same line, we are not building our public transport, right? We are actually, giving these automobile companies are providing money. Okay, diesel vehicle, 10-year ban, get new cars. And we have sold, I think, during Diwali, 27 lakh cars. Only in Diwali, right? And
Yes.
and let me tell you the live scenario. I've been to Singapore. In order to buy a Swift car, which costs to 7 to 8 lakh in India, you'll have to pay 50 lakh there as a tax. And the public transport is so good, people don't want to spend 50 lakh. They are using
Yes.
public transport. So that is the case.
Yes.
But coming
Yes.
back to the wedding, I was again studying something and I was able to find out Thursday, I've traveled 20 kilometers. It took me 4 hours. There were 20,000 marriages only in, on that day. Delhi, it was higher on that side. and the amount of money which Indians will spend on the marriages in 4 months gonna be 500,000 crore. You can imagine. So we are a rich country, which wherein the foreigners come, they click photograph of the poor country, snake charmers. That's not the case. People have a lot of money, but yes, I
Yes.
think it's not in the right hand, and that's how the people are suffering.
We are not projecting and we are not allowing people to talk about the right things that are happening. We're only encouraging BBC kind of organizations or Oprah Winfrey, and
Yeah.
they go to only certain houses and all. Are yaar, you come and visit our Parsi community, in Bombay. Why are you going to Aishwarya Rai's house? Aishwarya
Right.
Rai is a poor woman compared to that grand old lady, Parsi lady sitting in front of the, in a small apartment in Nariman Point. That lady is much more, intelligent, as well as, she has got so many billions away somewhere in stock market and also in her house. So this is another issue, but that's what I was trying to emphasize, that there is money with the public. And the only thing is, you need to figure out how do you bring out that money from people's hands. How do you make them spend? So, in that sense, I think we need to figure out ways and means, specifically for this case in Ola, how can we, create that sort of loyalty in the consumers so that whatever new vertical we are starting, the credibility that we have, established in one of our business verticals is also translating into another, wherein they'll start trusting our Ola food app, and then they use that for purchasing the food and getting more convenience. And if you are getting into electric vehicles, they'll support you there. You're getting into some other business, they'll support you there. So it is that consistency. If you're able to establish that with the customers, definitely, just like Tata, which is a conglomerate, it has established so many units, and it is able to create that trust factor. So any product that you purchase of Tata, you always feel proud, because even before the Make India, Atmanirbhar Bharat or whatever, I think without even saying anything, silently this organization was trying to be pride of India, and it is always promoting Make in India of sorts, you see. So I think that is one element. Now, last, the other important chunk that we need to talk about is, what are the segment of drivers that you're interested in bringing in? What type of drivers you want? And, what sort of operating procedures you would like to put for them because these are the brand ambassadors. These are the people who are creating the positive impressions for every ride that is being opted by a customer. So how do we ensure that our riders are providing effective service, and they'll be our brand ambassadors across the country? Not 250 cities, this isn't a small thing, no? So how do you ensure that? How do you select? How do you this thing? Background verification, Sanyogata. Okay, what else?
I think there has to be some sort of training, sir. Before they actually go and start the vehicle, as in the cab services. Because I've felt the personal difference, wherein I went to the Uber car. He was polite. He was wearing the dress. The car was neat and clean. Vis-a-vis, if you compare with Ola, I had multiple instances. It was not clean. Driver says, "Sir, AC nahi chal raha hai," and I have to go to the CNG. I mean, these kind of scenario happen. It's not only with Ola, with other companies also, but I think some training has to come into picture, right? From the
My own
side of it.
experience with Ola recently is that I ended up in Lucknow for the first time. I'm in North India. I'm so scared, and then I book a car in Ola, and the car comes in. I thought that fellow should take his car to a garage immediately.
Right.
I was, there is no what you call AC or anything, and he kept the windows open. I said, okay, fine, because this is Corona and all that, so I thought that it's still okay. But the car is so dusty and dirty. I felt like, oh my God, probably I'll get some gangrenous infection by the time I get out of the car. And then on top of it, I didn't dare to ask anything, because I'm not sure. This is a new city, that fellow will drop me anywhere and go away. Then, no, I don't know. I'm lost.
Yeah,
So these are all some of the things that you need to worry about when you say. So in that sense, I think sensitizing them in the training, it's training need not be like the classes that you are attending, wherein we are discussing a lot of things, and we are going from managerial level to the intellectual level also, and discussing all those things. So
Basic
what is
etiquette.
that politeness? What is that politeness based on different places and different this thing? And can you teach that little things? That is, you have to dress like this, you will have to be like this, and your car needs to be well maintained. Even if it is old, it doesn't matter, but it has to look neat and clean. Especially after the pandemic, I think cleanliness has become more of a priority for most customers. So how do we ensure that all these fellows are following all that stuff? I think that is one of the important things that you need to look at. And yes, background checks can be important, but I think sensitizing those fellows also, is an important thing. And not using mobile phones, while driving is an important thing, because I think it comes very natural to us to do multitasking, as if the whole world is revolving around this person talking on a mobile phone. No, it is not. You can simply call that fellow after a while, but generally we tend to attend to all trivial things rather than focusing on the most important elements of life. So what is vital, what is routine, and what is trivial, we need to educate our drivers about it. Okay, so if you say what are the vital tasks that need to be performed by you as a driver so that the customer is impressed with you. Second, what are the routine things that need to be performed so it should come automatically to you? These are all very assumed sort of things. And trivial things, like attending a mobile phone, which is not necessary for you to attend at that time, or checking your messages, WhatsApp messages, while you are driving a consumer. I think that is not necessary. These are trivial things. You shouldn't be performing them. So I think some of that needs to be like, then, also kind of, probably attaching some sort of penalizing, as Gautamji pointed out. Like if you don't adhere to the rules and if your feedback mentions this sort of things, I think, it is necessary. So when you say you are collecting feedback from the consumers, please be very brief. And what are the standard operating procedures that you have put in for the drivers? And which of them are directly impacting your brand? Please select them. Like you say, you may have some 10 things that they need to follow. But, there may be 3 important things out of the 10 which are necessary for the safety and welfare of the customer. So I think while you are collecting feedback, you will have to ensure that there is an alignment between what you have taught the driver, what he is supposed to perform, and the feedback that you are trying to collect from them. So if you are trying to match those things, and these things might change with times, they're not the same. You might have educated this person 5 years ago, but things might have changed now because the generation has completely changed. Your customers have completely changed. So what was polite once is not considered polite anymore. Thankfully in India, women are still amenable. But in a toxic feminism which has taken over USA, if you open a door for a woman, it is very offensive, they say. In Britain also. What is your problem? I tell my girls in the class, if somebody is opening door for you, please take that privilege and thank them. You don't need to fall for this toxic feminism, especially when as a colleague he is simply, opening the door for you, and that is going to help you understand and build a relationship, build a network with someone. Why should you feel any offense? And please return the favor. When he is carrying some load, let us say, or he is busy with something, you can as well return the favor by opening the door for him, and thereby creating that sort of, mutual trust as well as, that mutual respect. You need not feel offense for everything. So in that sense, when the changing norms are taking place in the society, I think, as Amit pointed out, I think educating these smaller nuances is also very, very important. And how do you behave? What do you talk, and what you shouldn't be talking about, what you should talk with the riders, and all those small details need to be taken care of. So in that sense, some bit of sensitization would be very helpful. Now, how do we recruit more fellows? You're saying you want more polite people, nice people, and all that, but you also want more people. The moment you say more people, all sorts of fellows will walk in, no? Then, Arpita, can you train them?
Sir,
Can you
it is
train all
possible.
fellows? Huh?
I think if like while taking like how we hire or recruit anything for the company, same way why can't we do for them as well? There should be some basic information knowledge every driver should have. Like in India, it is very easy to get the driving license and all, but that doesn't mean you cannot hire the people, because there you are taking the risk of the other's life as well. So it is very much necessary while recruiting the person, you should have a strict rules, strict questionnaires for the recruitment, as well as after that there should be a strict training, not only how to behave, how to be there. I think the company should also check that whether they are aware of all the traffic rules and regulations and everything, rather than just simply hiring them and recruiting them. And yes, I agree with some of the people who have written this, they should be get penalized. Yes, it should be there. I think many times, sir, which I've noticed in, like, I belong from MP itself, like Jabalpur, a place, and I'm staying in Bangalore. I stayed in Delhi, Mumbai as well. So what I noticed, like city to city, also the people, changes. I used
Yes.
Ola in Jabalpur. I used Ola in Bangalore. You can see the difference between the driver's car attitude and how they behave and how they talk. Even in
Yes.
MP, many time I faced that I am booking with a certain amount. It is showing to me Ola, maybe suppose say 400 rupees, but they will cancel my the whatever the I have generated the inquiry for that, and they will ask me, ma'am, pay us 50 rupees less, but directly you pay to us. We are canceling it. This happens.
Yes.
MP, I have noticed. But I
Happens with
This
AquaGuard
is the
also.
problem. This is the problem with marketplaces. They don't control the vendors, right? So वो कर सकते हैं, sir. That is the
Yes.
problem with marketplaces.
Yes, and AquaGuard, especially because I get that, thing changed with Uraka folks. Every time I call the call center to book the appointment for the replacement of my cartridge, I get a call from a local random person who previously worked for AquaGuard and is now not working with Uraka folks. But still, he is able to get the information, and he ends up at my doorstep and says, please don't go with the bill and everything. I can do it. I don't have to, you don't have to give me the service charge of 350 to 500. I will do it for you. So you will have to kind of somehow address this technical these things. And so you are not only the techies sitting in Bangalore head office writing algorithms, but you should also have people on the ground who are verifying these things, who are training people, and who are taking care of some of these nuances as you grow and reach out to, let us say, your next target is reaching 500 cities in this country. So you cannot simply tech geeks sitting in the Bangalore city and trying to manage things, but you also need to have army of people working on the ground. So as Vishakha asked, if we try to see what is it that is there in the Ola business, one is that there is always a narrative that is built by the entrepreneur to create a very nice impression and sell a good story to explain the business model that they have come up with. Second, you need to be very, very clever and clear in terms of the business model that you are picking up. And with respect to the time and the context in which you exist, you can consider that aggregation has become a very, very important thing. And so, you are trying to remove some of the problems of public transportation and some of the problems of individual transportation by aggregating people together and bringing more of organization in the unorganized sector of transportation. That is what Ola is trying to do. Then once your business model is successful in one of these things, you can try to figure out, is it possible for me to go up market or down market? That is, I have started with the Swift, car, but can I go to Maruti 800 to help more consumers to come in? Can I also go to luxury sedans and then also bring in more, affluent consumers in the business? Further down the line, can I also get in auto as well as bike riders? Because those are more in numbers in the cities where I would like to now expand, and it is not essential that everyone should travel only in the car just because you started with the car. You can also go down market in the sense of pooling the autos, if that is the major mode of transportation in that location. And for adding convenience, you are trying to kind of reach to the bikes as well. So you are finding out all the possibilities for expanding this transportation business that you are in. Then the third most important thing that you need to look at, once your aggregation is working out in one of the domains, and when you define the business at a broader level of technology and convenience and safety for the people, I think you need to figure out where all such aggregations are possible and are we doing it. So let us try to figure out more such aggregations where our blueprint can work, and let us try to get in there, thereby expanding the revenues for the organization. Because no matter what you do, I think getting revenues from one mode of business or one mode of transportation will be limited, and it will not grow beyond a point, considering the potential income that is there with the people. So to increase your organization's revenues, you are looking for newer businesses where such aggregations are possible, and so let us get in there. Then the most important two stakeholders, that is the consumers as well as the riders. So consumers, so based on the vehicle that you have, you're understanding the economic segment to which they belong and the occasions in which they use these rides, and please place your organization accordingly in the mind of the consumer. Then come to the drivers, because these are the brand ambassadors for your organization. You will have to work out as to what you will do to ensure that all of them are appearing as clones of the most ideal driver that we have recruited first. So whether it is Ladakh or whether it is Kanyakumari, when I'm interacting with an Ola driver, I'm getting the same kind of treatment, I'm getting the same kind of dialogue or no dialogue at all. So I think that way, taking care of the recruitment process, regularly monitoring them, sometimes penalizing them, because you are helping them to earn 1,300 rupees on an average. So again, this 1,300 rupees is for, let us say, cars. For auto fellows, you will have to fix a different benchmark. For, what you call this bike fellows, you will have to fix a different benchmark. So you will have to explain that the value that they get, that they are providing, the revenues or the profits they are able to share. So last one is proportional sharing of profits for the value that the driver is delivering. This is what is the important thing that you need to keep in mind. Otherwise, what happens is the channel conflict. You are a bike rider, you are comparing your earnings with the Swift Desire driver. Please don't do that. Okay? Because of the value that you are providing to the customer, you will only be able to earn 100 rupees. But the higher value that is provided by the Swift Desire guy, he will be able to do more, and that is why he is earning more. I think when you are getting into so many verticals or different segments in the market, explaining these nuances to the driver is also very, very important. Okay, so I'll have to close it here. because I have another session at 12 o'clock. I have to run for that class. So hoping to see you on the campus. And before your on-campus module is planned, I think one week or 10 days before, I will send you all the questions and everything. And so let's meet and
Professor?
complete the whole course. Yes.
We will have the exam.
I think yes.
next week.
You will have exam, and I will give you a small caselet like this one. This
No,
Ola.
which date?
I don't know. The office will communicate with you.
No, that's next Saturday. We have the exam. It's already
So
there.
next Saturday.
It's not for this.
I
Next
will
Saturday
give
is a
a small
different exam.
Different exam.
That's of Professor Savita's.
No,
No,
because
next to
my
next.
exam, my course is just finished, no? So I think they'll put the exam probably after Professor Sabita's exam is over.
It's on 9th.
Sir, we still have one session pending.
No,
9 and 10.
sessions are over, no?
9 and 10.
9 and 10,
9 and
sir.
10 is on campus.
Oh,
Okay.
9 and 10 is on campus. So उसमें कोई परेशानी नहीं है. मेरा question सिर्फ 8 sessions तक ही सीमित रहेगा.
Okay, and
चिंता
which
मत
questions
कीजिए.
will be, sir? What sort of questions you can help us a little bit insight
So
on
let
that?
us say, the syllabus is talking about all these elements, no? The introduction to marketing, pricing, product, segmentation, targeting, positioning, and stuff. So I will ask you questions relating to that. So it is like you are not having me, but you are only seeing the paper and you are answering my questions like the way you answer my questions in the class. It is as simple as that.
Short answers, short description answers.
Middle or short answers of sort. That's how.
And we'll have ample time for writing, right? Someone is
will
very
have
fast
ample
in
time.
writing, someone is slow in writing, and all.
No. You will be getting ample time to write.
Okay, sir.
I'll not give you MCQs and all. That is problematic.
That's okay. That's
But I'll
okay.
give you
no negative
short-
marking as well, right?
No
MCQ is
negative
not
marking.
there. Yeah.
No. Don't worry. I'm not
First-
teaching you a PGP marketing one course, so please don't worry about negative marking this and that.
Sir, one last
It is
question.
analysis.
One
Yes.
last thing I want to ask. If the answer you require, it's more of a definition pattern or more of an example or description.
See, I am not judging you like I'm judging a PGP student. So it is not that the bookish answers is what I'm expecting. No. I'm expecting the analytical frameworks that we have brought in the class. I'm expecting that you will bring in your experience as an executive, in an organization, and you bring in that perspective in the exam. You need not be, very book chapterish in your answers,
Okay, sir.
but also don't be very wishy-washy. That is what I would suggest.
Understood. Sir.
Please stick to the logic, and please try to bring in some examples from your own experience and connect that to the case wherever it is appropriate. But जबरदस्ती टाका मत भिड़ा दीजिए, बस वही है.
Got it, sir. Got it.
Yes. Okay. Chalo. Bye. I'll see you on campus. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.